believe the marketing people that was hired by FIFA that told them to put this thing on April Fools, because I do have comments on my content saying, is this an April Fool's joke? Because I mean, like, of course, right? Like you're just further creating this chaos that is so unnecessary. But FIFA did post this on their socials last week that this was going to be the case. And I think the Athletic also had the article breaking down that this is going to be the first time that fans are going to be able to pick their seats. And so this is just introducing more chaos to a process that they have themselves made chaotic.
Welcome in. Our hot topic today is a World Cup topic. So I'll let you know that our World Cup coverage is brought to you by Oakland County Football Club, celebrating 10 years of bleeding purple in Southeast Michigan in 2026. Visit Oakland County FC online for a schedule and tickets, but also check out the Instagram page for a chance to win a trip, an all expenses paid trip to TST in Cary, North Carolina. So go on over to OCFC's Instagram page for that. But good morning. We have our good friend of the show, Danny from Travel Football Fan, and we have you on just before another week of madness for your coverage and for anyone that wants to go to the World Cup this year.
Yes, and it's historic in so many ways that I just kind of wish it was just the most mundane thing ever.
Yeah,
but it's not, though.
But
yeah,
it is.
Look, I know that you're out here doing work. Danny's on the rise as a minor soccer celebrity because of doing this work. So on the one hand, it's good for you, but obviously, look, this is not the experience we want, Danny.
No one drew it up this way, right?
No, definitely not. I mean, it definitely has been one of these things where like this project of covering this tournament here went from like, hey, I think I said before, right, like a travel advisor type of situation to like, oh my goodness, look at all the things that are on fire. We're still trying to keep some sort of positivity going, and so to just kind of just break the glass of what's going to happen with face. Well, we get to pick our seats now. Never happened before. And so if you haven't bought tickets and you somehow get through the probably multi-hour queue that's going to probably happen starting this Wednesday at 11 a.m., you get to pick seats for, I'm assuming, all the categories, although, again, majority of the tickets being sold are category 1 and 2. So I don't know what seats are going to be available. And for those of us that did purchase tickets already, we're going to be assigned our seats. Again, we don't know if we're getting put towards the back of the sections and then they'll sell the more, like, I guess, nicer seats towards the front. We don't know any of this whatsoever. So that's the history.
And when did this pop up that there was going to be a window? I mean, hopefully it's not April Fool's, but April 1st, this goes online. When did this news pop up? Was this
April 1st is a perfect day for this to go online. Let's go.
I cannot believe the marketing people that was hired by FIFA that told them to put this thing on April Fools, because I do have comments on my content saying, is this an April Fool's joke? Because I mean, like, of course, right? Like you're just further creating this chaos that is so unnecessary. But FIFA did post this on their socials last week that this was going to be the case. And I think the Athletic also had the article breaking down that this is going to be the first time that fans are going to be able to pick their seats. And so this is just introducing more chaos to a process that they have themselves made chaotic, right? If already for the first 3 phases and the FIFA Collect, NFTs, if you told people they couldn't pick seats but now you're going to tell them, oh, psych, I guess you could pick seats now. It's just going to create all this chaos, at least through the official channels, right? Through FIFA Collect and whatnot, of who's sitting where. Right, in that respect, right, and also with the rules of only 4 maximum per game that each person can buy, 40 in total. It's really is a recipe for disaster in that respect.
So I'm recalling something that you said on our show on one of your first appearances on Morning Kickaround, and it was something about, I mean, you mentioned a couple of games, like with the number of ticket requests, or the when FIFA was in the very early stages and fielding all of these requests, and you were like, okay, that's great. Are they all for 1 or 2 games? Like, don't you potentially have a problem here with, you can trumpet this big number, but ultimately you've got lots of games that probably aren't selling out. So this seems again, we're in this situation where nobody really knows how popular this tournament's going to be yet, right?
At least from ticket sales, right? Again, if you're going to measure popularity by ticket sales, yes. But I think we had the clue in phase 3.5, right? That random one that they just decided to throw an email out and, create even more chaos. And this was a couple of weeks ago. I think the final number was 64 of the 104 games were on sale during that phase 3.5. Okay. And so that would tell us a vast majority of these games have not sold out, not even close. And even FIFA in this final phase, they're not putting all the tickets out on sale, which is kind of a known, right? A known factor, because phase 4 technically lasts until the last day of the tournament. That's just, this is open phase now. But they themselves have said that they're going to hold tickets back to sell even on game day. So this is all creating this artificial scarcity that I think myself and a lot of fans caught on very early. You can't be saying you sold out all these games, but then throw a random phase in, give a bunch of tickets to sponsors, right? Like it's just too chaotic of a process. And then themselves are trying to say like, oh yeah, they're trying to create this artificial demand that at least through ticket sales does not exist, or at least with that 500 million ticket request number that we talked about, everyone either requested the top 20 team games or category 3 seats. Again,
right.
Those are the least amount of available tickets.
So for, expecting this to go correctly on April 1st, where do people need to go in order to either sign up or purchase these, if this goes to plan?
Yeah, so FIFA.com/tickets is the website to go to. And that's a very common question a lot of folks are asking right now, because then for those that purchase tickets through the third-party resale markets, oh boy, now that's a whole different ball game in that respect, because, or at least in terms of what I'm predicting, or at least what I'm seeing, is that, first of all, now you're going to see price variations all over the map, right? Because now everyone that's going to get assigned their seats on April 1st are now going to know, oh, if they're reselling their ticket, now I know whether I got a really good seat or a really bad seat. Bad seat, assuming, right, towards the back of a specific section. And so if those sellers have those types of seats that are towards the back of the section, they're going to have to reduce the price, because people are going to be like, no, you have that seat. I want to go be further up front. And then that's going to create a lot of price fluctuations in the third-party resale market, right? That's why I'm also encouraging folks that did buy tickets through like StubHub, Vivid Seats, all these other websites, make sure you actually get confirmation of tickets this week from whoever sold you those tickets. Because then if they can't tell you that where you're sitting now, that probably means that person was sold you a ghost ticket. They're desperate to find tickets to give to you, because, they in effect initiated the sale. And I don't want you to get to game day without a ticket because they never had one in the first place. So, yeah,
that's good. That's good advice to check to see if you have a seat. I'd say clip that one, Jenny. That's really the pull away for anyone who's bought tickets on a third party site. So that's really good information to know. Last week, though, there was kind of a dry run for a game in Boston. I saw some people complaining about some traffic, and then maybe even an increase of ticket prices for the limited amount of public transportation going between Boston and Foxborough. Was there any ticketing issues with that, or just logistics?
I don't think I heard ticketing issues. It was definitely just more of the logistics, and a crash course for folks not knowing that Foxborough and Boston are not the same place. They saw all the traffic that was happening. They saw, of course, with the MBTA announcing the $75 round trip ticket, which I, for once, defended a price increase on anything, but if only because it's public transit. But even then, right, it's public transit to a stadium and not towards, communities and, places of work, right? Where actual improvements in transit are needed, right, in our local communities, as opposed to a stadium. But I think this was also kind of part of my core mission with my content. Like, folks, Foxborough is not in Boston. Miami Gardens is not in Miami. San Jose is not in San Francisco. Like, you have to know this stuff, right? Fans that those fans that got stuck and were walking on train tracks. I mean, I get it. You got stuck in traffic, but you also probably should have known. Like, at this point, I think there's a lot of information out there to let fans know where you have to go and what to expect. If you are still arriving to the World Cup, not knowing how to get to a place, that's kind of on you at this point. Like,
yeah. Well,
now.
so Armando is saying that FIFA has done a terrible job explaining how most of these large stadiums are nowhere near the city they say they're in.
Of course.
I mean, is that on, like, I'm not going to defend FIFA very far if I can help it, but is that on FIFA to be like, it says it right? I mean, you can look up the stadium.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the guy that apparently wanted to go and see Barcelona at St. James's Park in Newcastle, and he got to London and he put in his map and he went to the wrong place and he went to like some third division game and they're like, oh, you're a fan for life now. Because he went to the wrong St. James's Park. I guess that happens. Again, like, just be aware, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know, on the ticket price thing, obviously we continue to hammer this story that, and FIFA keeps saying things like, well, Americans are used to it. Americans are used to it. And I mean, I don't know, that makes me so mad. And of course, FIFA keeps taking hits. Like, here's an article from the Independent: Euro 2028 tickets to cost less than a parking space at the 2026 World Cup. Now, if you're coming from somewhere else, you're probably not parking. But still, it's a good point that we're not making the game accessible in this big moment in the country day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think this idea, right, of America's earnings, like, who are you talking about? Because, you know, like all of us here, we all represent different shades of America.
Yeah.
And we all love the sport so much. And we hate the system that we're in. It's baked into not only our economic system and our political system, because these companies that do sell these tickets at these outrageous prices lobby Congress, right? And it's kind of like, right, throwing a little bit of the politics in it, but that's just the reality of it. They lobby Congress millions of dollars in order to keep these policies in place. And until us, the fans, push our members of Congress for some reforms on these third-party resale platforms and how tickets are sold, unfortunately, we're going to continue to see this. But this is not, and I agree with you, Jason, this is not to say that we love this system. America does not love the system. Just as I would say, I didn't like that 3-minute hydration break that they were doing in the France-Colombia game. We don't like maybe a halftime show. Okay, that's maybe a too controversial, but we're not trying to Americanize this game. If anything, it's the powers to be there.
It's corporatizing it. Americans are allowed to corporatize the sports in a way that they aren't in other places, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, yes, we societally are guilty on some level of letting, especially the NFL, and I would say to some extent the NBA, turn our sports into these, you know, insane productions and then gouge us for tickets. But I, you know, and again, I understand. I'm as cynical as they come, and it's really hard to imagine people acting in good faith if they're not forced to. They're not being demanded, hey, stop gouging people, as long as people pay the ticket prices. I don't know, man. I'm not arguing for anybody to skip the World Cup if it's coming here and you have the resources to go. I'm not going to be mad at you if you do. But it obviously would send a message to FIFA, and it would maybe send a message to everybody else in sports and who's in charge of handling the idea of ticket prices and parking space prices and everything else. Like, hey, maybe there is an end to this. Like, maybe this well does eventually run dry. People are going to stop showing up if you keep doing this. But that's not where we're at. We're not there yet.
Well, there's definitely an appetite. That game in Florida you referenced, I think you were at the Columbia game. That looked, well attended. And will it be? Do you think that a handful of games are packed to the rafters, and then the less attractive globally, are we seeing sparse attendances? You think?
Oh, I think Danny froze.
I actually was in my mind. I was gonna kudos to Danny for like his presence and stability. I'm always bouncing around and being silly, and I was actually very impressed with his discipline on staying in the shot there. But unfortunately, we lost Danny there. I was just gonna say before we let him go that I recall the manager of Scotland a couple months ago when the ticket prices started becoming more public knowledge, and he was asking people to please not sell their homes in order to get there. So market March 28th, the first headline I saw, Englishman sells home to pursue World Cup dreams across the United States. So market, end of March, already got our first story with that. And we got Danny popping back in here. It looks for final thought.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Danny, I know, so obviously you're based here. I know you probably helped a lot of people in the U.S. Some people like yourself want to travel to Mexico. But there was a story a couple days ago at The Athletic as well. Adam Crafton, who's been covering this, certainly the foreign travel element of this more than anybody. World Cup fans from several nations facing $15,000 bonds to enter the United States, and players might not be exempt. I mean, this is insane, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I know that I had some comments saying, well, it's a bond, right? You'll get the money back. Well, this administration has proven that they're not doing that with regular migrant applications for various visas and in other spaces. So no, you can't trust this administration for, to give back that money, but also assuming that, the fans that are coming here have that amount of money on top of everything else that they have to pay for, right? Yeah. To enter this country. This is all part, I would say, of this idea that then why are we hosting the most globally diverse sporting event if we're not going to be welcoming hosts to this, right?
Yeah, right.
Folks that are coming here from other countries probably are better off in their own societies. And so like all they're doing is to come here, enjoy the games, go back home. This is not an immigration plan to get in, or at least very doubtful that they're going to use a marquee event like this to get in when there's, quite frankly, easier ways, maybe, or like other ways, we'll say other ways. So I think this is just unfortunate that this is only highlighting how unwelcoming we are towards other fans. And quite frankly, FIFA, where are you? Like, you're not even going to protect the players at least. Like, I mean, fans, okay, that's one thing. I mean, FIFA's really been hands off with like assisting with visas. I know they had the FIFA Pass program, but that only gets you the interview, not the visa in its full form. Like, yeah, it's unfortunate. It really is.
So one quick thing, you were there on scene for the Colombia game in Florida. How was your experience?
DC, sorry, Robert.
In DC, apologies. Yeah. But how was the experience for you going in and out, security and all that?
Well, apparently there was some issues with staffing. And so like, if anything, I hope that's one thing that the host cities don't do in the World Cup is be cheap on staffing, because or else you're going to have people waiting outside 10, 20, 30 minutes already. The game has happened. And then, not only have these fans paid all this amount of money, now they're going to be late to a World Cup game.
Well, and this is something, Danny, that's come up. Obviously, we talked about Foxborough. They eventually got their deal done, and it had to be the Crafts to step up and actually pay the money to the town of Foxborough, so they weren't going to get screwed on the security costs. But this is going to be a general thing, because cities know that they got bad deals from FIFA. Everybody knows it's a raw deal. That's why Chicago's not hosting games. And so I imagine there might be some scrimping and saving on this, because, we don't know if we're getting this money. Again, with DHS still technically shut down, I'm living this life because my wife is actually a DHS employee. She had to go back to work. Yeah. Is any of this legal? Nobody really knows. So they're not distributing the funds that they're supposed to be distributing from the bill that was passed last year that was supposed to cover some of these security costs in these places. So if these cities are not sure they're going to get their money, be very wary of that. I hopefully that's not something that becomes a major issue as we move forward.
So just get early. I mean, unfortunately, it's kind of simple, even maybe dumb advice, but get to the games early, because, like you said, we don't know how this is all going to look like. The traffic getting into the stadium, granted with more parking spaces, was still also very bad. Expect that to be even worse with less parking spaces available, with more of a security perimeters being put in all of these stadiums. So, folks, just get early, have this plan. Know where you're going. Know the difference. If you have to travel 40 miles out to the stadium, you got to know these things beforehand.
Literally make a day of it. I mean, that's a saying for going out and about afterward, but make a day of it and get there at the beginning of the day.
And anybody traveling right now is probably getting some good practice standing in line for multiple hours at a time.
We even talk about that.
Well, again, I don't know. By the way, somebody in our chat who's not an ultra, so I can't put his comment on screen, has identified your background, Danny. He says he knows that's Barranquilla that you have in your background. Is that right?
Correct. That's correct.
Colombia. All right. Very good. I have never been. Would love to go. I only know the song. So
it was great. I mean, and great environment for the World Cup too. So I can't wait to go back to see more games over there. It's just always a different environment. So yeah.
All right, let the people know where to find your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me at Travel Football Fan across all my socials on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Now on Facebook as well, if you're still on that. And then you can visit my website, travelfootballfan.com, where, you can see some at travel deals. I'm trying to get some hotels to like give us some discounts too. So if you're looking for some of that, I'm trying to work with that as I know we only got like 74 days left to go. And many of us, are still trying to figure out our travel plans for this World Cup. So, just keep following me on the socials, see what you can get. And yeah, I appreciate y'all. Seriously, this has been quite the project I've undertaken. I honestly can't wait for it to be done, but at the same time, I can't wait for the summer to start.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us again.
I don't want the rest of it, but thank you, Dennis.